Well, welcome everybody to Traction Thursday. It is my pleasure to introduce today's panel. First off, we have Terry Baker. She is Destination Marketing Leader and Director of Visit Fairfield, Iowa Convention Visitors Bureau, where she blends brand strategy, social media storytelling, and data-driven campaigns to grow tourism and local economies. Next, I will introduce Phyllis Carr. Phyllis is an online business marketing consultant, published social media marketing author, and expert in social media content, email marketing, e-commerce, community development, and developing online and offline marketing strategies. Probably somewhere there's a kitchen sink, but we'll get to that next. Next, I'd like to introduce Katie Johansson. Katie is here. She is the sales and general manager for KILJ AM and FM radio stations in Mount Pleasant, Iowa. She decided to follow her grandfather's footsteps and get into the radio business in 2016 after living and working in Mount Pleasant for a few years doing public service and nonprofit marketing work. And last but not least, Ellen Finkelstein, and she is the recognized expert, speaker, trainer, and best-selling author on PowerPoint presentation skills and speaking. She also is an expert in email marketing, affiliate marketing, building marketing partnerships, and the reason Phyllis Carr got into the business that she is in. So please, let's give this panel a warm Fairfield welcome, and they are off to the races.
All right. Well, this is going to be a lot of fun, and I hope you keep that fun thing in mind there. We don't want this to get too serious, but we will be pulling people out of the hat and putting them into the hot seat. And so there's just 4 questions you need to answer when you get up here. I'm going to go over them so you have them in your mind before you get up here. We need your business name and the industry it's in. We need your target audience, at least what you think your target audience is. We might have a little thing about that too. Your current marketing efforts in a nutshell, just like I do email marketing, I do social media, done, okay? And then your specific marketing challenge you'd like us to address. And up here we have online and offline marketers, so we can go in all the directions for you. Okay, so are you ready to see who comes up first?
That piece of paper there.
No, they're going to read it. They're going to read it in case they forget before they get up here. All right, first one in the hot seat, and I'm not looking. I'm just finding a thing, and it is, yes, thank you, drum roll. Oh my gosh, Stacy, come on up. Yay, Stacy, come on up. Come sit here.
On the Price is Right.
All right, you get to sit in the hot seat.
You really did mean a hot seat.
Yes, so here we go. You're going to answer the question.
Do I look at this to answer them?
Yes.
So business name is International Artisan. This is very new, even though some of you know that I've done arts in our town for many years. But there is a gallery that I'm opening. I am doing a pop-up. Years ago, I did a pop-up exhibit every year. It's a 3-month exhibit, and it is now at Central Park Futon, and it's a pop-up. So it is called the International Small Work Show, and it is at International Artisan, which we're calling it a pop-up exhibit on the square. So
Just
keep on point.
The quicker you do
Keep
this,
on point.
the more we can talk.
Okay. So the targeted audience is our local community, of course. But it is also, because it is international, there are 300 pieces by 150 artists. 32 countries are involved in this. So the idea is that I'm getting the word out as well as I can to the neighboring cities, pretty far and wide, even as far as St. Louis it's going. That is one category that I am falling short on. The other, okay, so then current marketing efforts. Okay, this ties right into it. I will say also, I am, even with all the things I've done, I do not have expertise or extensive mailing lists as many do who would have done all these things. I fall short on that. The catch, I'm just going to say straight up, because it's a 3-month pop-up, it's not like I'm building on something that I want to last for I don't think anyway, to last for years. So I need like targeted action plan on marketing, on social media, on connection with other businesses, affiliations. A lot of this could go to church communities. It can go to different. The other thing is video. I do have a helper. I have several helpers, which is really great. But just getting more things on Instagram, getting things out there.
All right.
And that's really it.
All right, so that's really enough for us to get started. Breathe. It's okay. I just want to say that you have a fabulous project coming up, so it has a lot of potential for branding and all the things. It'll be really great, and I would not stress about the things that you do not have together. Okay, so we'll just sort of like, this is also life coaching here. So here's the thing I'd like to say, and then we're going to pass around, and all of us are going to add to it. Okay, so your goal is to get people in the door. Yes, your goal is to get people in the door.
Yes.
And the more people you get in the door, the more sales you can make. And sales is basically the target result. So as far as being an attraction, this is a launch process that anybody who's a book author or anybody who's launching a business, you have a launch process, which is a lot of teaser stuff about the things so that when the actual opening day comes, everybody already knows about it. Everybody's ready to come and go do it. So what we're going to do is give you some launch information, okay? So you want to talk, anybody want to chime in real quick before I hog the mic?
I do.
Can I add one thought first?
No.
I want to talk about your audience.
Yes.
Because whenever I hear somebody say, my audience is everyone in the community, you don't have an audience defined yet.
Yeah, well, okay, so it's not a mic for the room, it's the mic for the video, so, okay.
Just viva voce.
So what I said to her was that whenever I hear somebody say that their audience is everyone in the community, then I know they do not have an audience. Because your audience has to be defined much more than that. Everyone in this community does not appreciate art. Everyone in this community does not purchase art. Everyone in this community does not have leisure time to just stroll through a gallery. So I want you to think about who exactly is the person, the ideal person. They walk in that front door and you can define them. And that is not necessarily a definition by their this age or this gender or this, they have this job or whatever. It's something that's more of a psychographic about that person.
I was just going to use that word.
Yeah. So they have something about them that is intrinsic in why they are approaching you for art. That is going to hold true. They come from Fairfield, they come from St. Louis or anywhere else. That's also going to hold true in your messaging. The next thing is I want you to look at the transformation that you are going to create. So if I said to you, before coming to my show, people felt this. After they come to the show, they feel this because of this. That's what I want you to answer. Okay. Can you answer that now?
I can. I
All right.
absolutely can. Yes. Because so much of what I do borders on all the humanitarian work that I've also done. There is always my view when someone comes into an art exhibit, they have been transformed. They go out different than they were when they left.
Define.
And defining that means they either realize some revelation about artwork. I didn't know I love still life images, or I didn't realize I can't stand pictures, artwork of animals, or whatever. There's an educational element. There's also an element, because this is international, it exposes people to artwork from African countries, from the Middle East countries, from Indonesian countries, regions.
So it's really important that you spend time in that. So
Yes.
we're going to move on to the
Okay.
next point.
Okay.
And
Did that
Ellen,
answer
let's
that?
talk, since she mentioned email marketing and she doesn't have an extensive list, why don't you tell us a few things about email marketing? Because I know this is your baby.
It is, but I'm not sure email is the right way to go for this specific thing. But what I was going to say is that I think you need to contact organizations that do have email lists. So, or at least, or maybe they just have social media presence, or they have members, or whatever, however they keep in touch with them. So I think there are art groups. I mean, just in Fairfield, we have the Fairfield there's a Facebook group called Fairfield Photographers or whatever it is. And so it's a group of people who are into art in Fairfield. And so you can, if you want to think of the whole Midwest, specific cities, and you can just go onto Facebook and search for the city and then art or city, something like that, photography, whatever it might be. So I think that's one thing. In the larger cities, like, for example, Iowa City being a university town, you'll have organizations that are focused on helping people appreciate art, which is what you're trying to do. And so if you tell them that you have this, they might send out a message or whatever it is. So I think finding the right organizations that have that audience, whichever type of audience it is really crucial. And then making sure you give them the information about the dates and, when they should send it out. There's something called swipe copy, which is suggested copy for them to promote it. So you should write that for them. And then, of course, they can change it. But whatever it is, so you make it just easy for people to promote.
Good. So I want to stop. You got to soak it all in. This is very important to soak it all in, okay?
I have a question on that.
And we can follow up with questions afterwards. So we need to, so we can get to lots of people. I want to revisit the teaser strategy.
Yes.
And you should be I already know you already did one video, but doing a video every other day of, oh, we got the walls up. Oh, we got the lights. Do you see the lights? Oh, I got a shipment in from Greece. Oh, I got this from my people in South America, wherever it is. Like, just keep people informed of every step along the way.
But I'm hoping the one coming from Russia doesn't get stopped by tariffs.
And so then we give this to Katie and see if she has some things. I'm sure you have some
Sure.
things.
So, I think with radio, everybody is your audience because anybody in the listening area is a potential customer. And so I would say I still think, especially local radio, they're tied, they've got their finger on the pulse. And when you talk about some of those groups that you can reach out to, they have those connections. So I do think it's worthwhile to, talk with a local radio station or a local newspaper, explain to them what you're trying to do. And, there are, lots of things that go into it because we don't just do radio, right? We do digital ads and we have a big Instagram and Facebook audience that has thousands of followers. So there's lots of opportunities to kind of cross promote. And so I think you need to do what Terry said and you need to make copy so it's exactly kind of what you're envisioning. And then, I think you can share that with the masses, especially in your local community because people know you, right? You've lived here a long time and you've got connections with all these people and, your church group and all the things that you're involved with. They hear you on the local radio or something like that and they go, oh yeah, I want to help, I want to support that. I want to go check that out. And so I think it's still worthwhile you got to do both. You've got to pepper spray everywhere. And I think local radio, local newspaper kind of helps you do that on the local level.
Yes, and it's funny how we sometimes forget to mention the offline things that you can do to promote something with the visual way that you're putting up posters, with postcards you leave in retail stores. If I go into a retail store, there's always stuff on the counter with upcoming events. Rural Roadshows does a really, really good job of that, if you know what that is. So, just a postcard in every retail store here in town, and maybe in Ottumwa, Mount Pleasant, and maybe in Washington, that would be great.
Right over there.
Yes,
behind you?
right behind you. All the things. So we've given you a whole bunch of things to talk about, and so you can talk to each one of us individually after this and soak it all in. All right?
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, great.
You can hold that too.
You can go back. All right. Is that okay? Does everybody feel safe now? It's all right? Okay. Next person coming out of the hat is John, Floating Beds. Let's do it.
Okay, boy.
All right.
All right, so remember, as succinctly as you can do this, the more we can talk. Okay? So answer those questions.
Business name and industry is the Floating Bed Company. We are a paradigm shifting bed. for health. Target audience is people who own a home, which is critical, but also typically more upscale. Our current marketing efforts are, I started doing live events because I really had no marketing budget. And when I set the bed up at some event in a park where there were going to be thousands of people, I sold quite a number of beds because people could lie down in it. But that's kind of our bottleneck, because the explanation of why you should sleep in motion is complicated and people don't necessarily believe it, but trying it out works. Nonetheless, the internet is good, and so I did a website. And in the early days, I had like 20,000 visitors a month, which was good, and sold beds. But then I made a mistake because I hired the wrong guy who didn't know about 301 redirects. I lost all my traffic because he had done sites from scratch but never revamped a site. So losing my traffic really hurt, and I've been kind of, floundering since then. But nonetheless, I started doing podcasts recently. I got on LinkedIn and I sent out to hotel managers in Maui, which is obviously a good audience. So that's my challenges, really.
Okay. All right. Let's go for it. Anybody?
One more thing about your audience. Are you thinking local, national, international?
National, basically.
Okay. Anybody want to jump in first with this? Go for it.
It sounds to me like there's a lot of education that goes along with this product. And so, I think the podcast is a great thing because you can kind of go more in depth. And that's something that's easily replicated on the radio. For instance, you could, record audio and then you could go put B-roll with it, examples with it. You could really build that out. Definitely have to have your own website because you want to own that traffic, and so that's super important to keep working on that, and that will happen. Make sure you're using like SEO and stuff like that on it. But I would say the educational piece is, getting interviews lined up. Like on the local radio station, we do interviews, and that gives you a chance to go more in depth. Because at first you've got to explain what it is, and that takes a little bit of time. And then you can kind of do the frequency thing, where then you can start hitting them over the head with it, is what I like to call it. But first you're going to have to lay the groundwork and explain this really cool technology that I think, and I love the idea of setting up, as a vendor, during Old Threshers in Mount Pleasant, or when you've got a big festival going on here in Fairfield, or those types of areas, even if you want to think the Iowa State Fair in the Varied Industries building, can you pull together an opportunity to share a booth with maybe a couple other people here, so a couple of days you can be up there selling your beds, and a couple of days you could be up there selling jewelry or whatever the case may be, because it is kind of an investment, right? But I think all of those things would be a great thing to sell a bed that takes a little convincing, maybe. Right. Yeah.
So there are consultants and programs that are basically national PR systems where they help you get national radio, network, newspaper, magazine deals. Right. And so there are people who specialize in that. I would say, and the lady's name does not come to mind, but there's someone I can think of who does this. She teaches people how to get national news on their product. And so instead of taking the time to doing social and all of this and email marketing and fixing your website and all that, just go straight to some of these higher end PR people who can get you placed in national magazines, especially luxury architectural magazines. And just kind of throw the dice on that one, because if all the other things are not bringing you what you want yet, then let's try that one.
That's a good idea.
Trying to think here.
You can pass it.
So you mentioned something about hotels.
Right.
Yeah, so I think that's a good market for you, but I think even better, because it's kind of such an unusual thing, would be things like interior designers and decorators and architects who can, and there are these magazines, the very high-end magazines that are all over the country that that highlight different businesses that are making furniture and that are making this and are making that, and so I think that's one really good place for you, because people who want to design their homes and buy something, they look at these magazines.
Those are astronomically expensive.
Yeah.
Well,
That's why the consultant. That's why the consultant system is very important, where they can place you in ones that you can't afford, or they can get you placed with editors who are not asking for ad placement.
Yeah, and I think you can also go to associations, if you don't want to go to the magazine directly. So the second thing I was going to say seems to me, you said you sell a lot when you go to a place and people lie down on it. So I think you need to take videos of people lying down on it and doing a little stream of consciousness thing. Yeah. Wow, this feels great. Oh, I've never experienced this before. It's like I'm moving, but it's really comfortable. I thought I might be seasick, but now it actually feels like being in a cradle. I don't know what they're going to say. I'm making it up. But that having videos of people having their first experience on it would be really powerful. And then in all the other marketing that you do, you have a link to where you have that video on your website so people can actually see it.
Yeah.
Great.
Very good.
I was going to talk about benefits. So I heard you list like things like people sleep better, those kind of things. Sometimes it's really helpful to switch that messaging around. So, and look at what problem are you solving for someone that sleeps in this bed. The mom who has a new baby that doesn't get enough sleep at night, that this is now a place where there's something additional that happens. So put yourself in the shoes of that customer and tell the story from that customer's perspective. You can get testimonials, but then it's also in your messaging to have that solving that problem for the customer will help bring people to you. They'll even if they don't want to say what their problem is, because a lot of people don't want to talk about whether it's health issues or whatever. They don't want to talk about that, but they will secretly identify with that messaging, and then you can kind of flip it. Like, do you think this bed is just a hippie bed? No, it's actually important because of this, and this is what these people are saying. And if you're a person that does this and has this, you're going to enjoy this because of this. And that really helps to flip that script a little bit.
Yeah, and you can take those and make them straight lines. You have the mom with the child, and you have that experience from a live event, and that goes to a page that's very specifically about them and has all the email funnels and all the things that go along with that. So there are lots of different tracks that you have for different customer problems that you're solving. So yeah, focusing on the problem instead of the general benefits for a general audience. That's really good. All right, so does that help a little bit?
Yes.
Great. Thank you. All right, we're whipping through here. What I want to do is take just a moment, because one of the things I wanted to do that I forgot to do is get everybody in here. A lot of you guys are really great marketers already. I mean, you're already doing some really amazing things. So what I want to do is go back to Stacy real quick, and then if anybody has an extra thing or two they want to add, like we'll take a couple of comments for Stacy, and then we'll take a couple of comments for John. Anybody? Yes.
Well, one thing that Stacy and I have done in the past is I bring my iPhone and we do a live, and then we even turn a video, or actually do a video, and I can doll it up and then drop it on my social media. I think all of us, many of us have social media reach. Many of us have email lists. If we can go with our voice, Kevin, you go over and visit with Stacy, and then it's your voice, you're not amplifying my voice through your network. Your voice is authentically talking about Stacy and whoever else. And I think that we can crowdsource a lot of impact, particularly locally. And those of us whose social media goes beyond that, we can have an impact beyond that. So I'll volunteer to do the first thing with Stacy, maybe tomorrow.
In marketing speak, that's a strategic partner. Okay, so anybody else have something for Stacy? Want to throw into the pot for her to explore, gearing up for her event? Okay. Anybody have something for the floating bed that they want that we didn't mention? Something that maybe they would like to throw into the marketing mix? Anybody?
I have a question. Sure. So on these beds, do you have like special sheets or accessories like blankets that you sell with it or that come to cover it? So,
website.
okay, I was just thinking about that.
Were you thinking in terms of print on demand? Because
Oh, well, no, but that's that's my thing. Yes, I was just thinking of things like that.
yes, because actually this brings up a really, really good point, is that there are a lot of print on demand artists here, and several of them are in this room, and you can have lots of artists who build round blankets, because they do have this in print on demand, with their own designs. And you can find some really famous artists who want to do a print on demand blanket for your bed. And now you've got their audience, which is a lot of times really huge. And now they can bring it to you that way. So a print on demand challenge process would be really fun. All right, great. All right. We are going to pick the next person out of the hat. And it is Jordy. Come on down.
You asked for it.
You put your name in the hat, man. So remember, as succinctly as you can.
Okay, so I actually have two legal entities. One is Broker Edge Inc., that is the marketplace for buying and selling businesses, and the other is Belair Brokers. It is the buy-side advisory practice for helping buyers acquire businesses based on their investment mandates. And the industry is financial. Target audience, so we have two target audience. On the buy side, they range from individual buyers, so these are first-time entrepreneurs looking to have their first business, up to investment firms such as private equity offices and family offices that moved the push into private investment and are looking to acquiring businesses to make their investors happy. Current marketing efforts, a lot of it's just been cold outreach, so I would say for individuals, so both on buyers and even sellers, just a lot of outreach on Facebook, Instagram, and other social media. So low cost, effective marketing, that's worked for us so far. And for our main buyers, the private equity offices and family offices, a lot of emails and phone calls.
How do you find who to call and email?
Say that again?
How do you figure out, how are you choosing who you email and call?
Yeah, that's a great question. There's a couple things. One, we've actually been receiving a lot of referrals since there's actually a huge demand. And then, I mean, how it works in finance, everybody knows everybody, right? So that really helps us. And then just getting initial lists from other people in the industry that have all the contacts information, softwares, etc.
Okay. So we're going to talk to you about marketing. And so a lot of times that cold outreach is part of marketing, but I want to take it in a little bit of a different direction and think about things like YouTube. Because I think that YouTube is used by a lot of people to look for things, and I think that there might be some potential things there for you. You don't have to be the person on screen, with AI and everything that's available now. You don't have to be the face of the channel, but the information that you're giving can be quite valuable to people who are on the hunt for something. And a lot of times, it used to be back in the day, if you were hunting for something, you'd go to the library, or you'd just go walk around until you found somebody and you started talking. Now they go to YouTube. So if you go to YouTube and you build a channel and you think there and you do some research there and see what other people who are doing this are doing on YouTube, and just do it 10% better, with better titles, better videos, better information, better landing pages, I think you might be able to find some traction with that to find more customers that way. Anybody?
Yeah, I was going to ask you if you have a website or landing pages at all.
Yes, so for the online marketplace, yes, we do have a working prototype, and we're about to launch our buy-side advisory very soon, hopefully by the end of the week, as this is a new service we're providing.
Awesome. Yeah, because my concern was if you had a lot on social media, at some point in time, you don't own that.
Right.
And so that's a big concern. So I love the idea of expanding into YouTube that will drive people to your website, which will then allow you to gather an email list, which allows you to do more email marketing and kind of hit a bunch of different things where you can have an ongoing presence with and follow up with your customers.
Absolutely.
And I would just say persistence. I mean, I think if you're doing a lot of cold calling, then it's just a lot of repetition, going back to them again and again. And I think tips and tricks and, stuff like that, YouTube videos, I also think if you can have fun with it, that gets clicks. If there's some fun ones you can throw in there to capture attention, that will work, and then you can have the good content too, but a couple of the sprinkled in fun things I think would also drive traffic back to, oh, maybe this is something. And landing pages is essential because there's so many scams in social media. And if I'm being reached out to a cold call, is this a legitimate company? And so the referrals is great. You got to have those and that'll do more for you than anything else, probably.
Yeah, actually, that's the number one way that any business can gain more business is referrals from existing happy customers, period. That's over social media, that's over email lists, that's over everything. So it's definitely something that you should really hone in on and make sure you've got that really down really well. But the other thing, too, is if you go to YouTube and you look at some of these other financial people, you'll find that what they're saying is very important, but they have infused some sort of personality into their channels. And so really, and new YouTubers generally just want to keep it safe as possible, but I want you to just forget that and just go for it and have some authenticity in your personality and everything like that into the channels.
I would just say authenticity is probably the number one thing. You have to, you want to build credibility, but people can see through, a put on, you know what I mean? Authenticity and being genuine goes a million miles when you're doing business these days. And I think you've got to continue that. I'm sure you are.
So one of the things that if I was going to invest in a business or something like that, or whatever, for me in the financial area, a big thing is trust. And so I think one of the things is for you to offer to, some of these people don't know how to look at a profit and loss statement themselves. And so I think, an important thing is, we can give this information to your accountant, or we can help you, advise you about what would be a good purchase, give you some financial education so that you're not going blind. So I think building up that trust, I think the website is really important for that. And I think referrals, if you can go back and get those testimonials about what happened and put them on the website as well. And I think everything has to go back to your website, and that website has to be designed in a way that builds trust.
Yes, absolutely. All right, does anybody have anything else they want to add to that? All right, Jordy, you have some things to think about. Can't wait to see the YouTube channel.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a lot to think about. I think one of our challenges is on the buy side, we just have completely different audiences when I mentioned about the individual and the private investment. Because, with the firms, they're not going to be watching YouTube.
Okay, so now I'm going to give you, ask you some business advice questions. So are you dividing your attention with these two separate, opposite business companies, or are you okay with managing both of those?
Yes,
You're not spreading yourself.
we're a team, right? So I actually have a team. So I mainly deal with the private equity firms and family offices because of my background at Goldman Sachs and UBS, and then the rest of the team deals with individual buyers.
Okay, good. So that's the biggest problem a lot of entrepreneurs have is they like the shiny new objects, and they start popping out little baby businesses, and then they can't handle any of them because they don't have enough time to give to all of them. So I'm very happy to hear that.
Yeah, but I will admit, I think working on this so far, our priority long-term will probably be the private equity groups and the family offices for a couple reasons. One, their lifetime value of a customer is going to be significantly higher than an individual buyer because they're looking to buy more than one business. And then two, they're doing all their transactions in cash. Like these are full cash offers to acquire business. While with individual buyers, they'll most likely require financing using an SBA loan. And the challenge with using an SBA loan is the amount of regulation and underwriting. So just the due diligence process is so much quicker and so much easier with the private equity guys. So I'd rather deal with them because it's going to bring us more commissions quicker.
Yeah, good. That's exactly how you analyze where to put your time. Excellent. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. doing? Let's see if we
Oh,
have a
anybody
couple of
else?
questions from
Anybody?
Jordy. For anybody in the audience, want to add to anything that we threw in the pot there for him? How many of you guys watch YouTube many hours a day? Yeah, be honest. How many people look at financial channels or anything in the finance industry channels on the regular? Yeah, and I do too, and I'm like, why am I watching this? I don't have like all this money to do things. But I do notice that how a business is presented on YouTube is like really important, and you have to have that dialed in, and that more of that personality that you can put into the YouTube, the more you get viewers, and who knows, maybe the YouTube channel actually turns into an income stream too. So it's something to always think about. All right, we have a few more people in the hat. How are we doing for time?
Maybe one more.
One more? Yeah, okay, yes, because we got about that. All right. Oh, God. Who we got here? Oh, we got a big one. Oh, my goodness, with a name on it. Wes Brown, come on down. Wes Brown. All right, it's the amazing Wes Brown, and disclaimer, he's my son-in-law, so I have to be extra nice, you know me. Yeah. Yes, the paper right here. Here you go.
Okay, so right now, business name is up in the air. I mean, for a long time, I've been operating under Planetary Teas as my first business, and then after that I started doing marketing myself and had Elemental Mastery Marketing, and then right now I'm starting all over again, and my idea is to basically start producing books at a like 4 books a year, and just start writing like I don't necessarily call it self-help, but like self-realization, meditation kind of stuff.
Okay, good.
You know.
And
Target audience is obviously spiritual seekers, but also people who are out of place in traditional religious context and sort of like New Age spirituality. It's and then current marketing efforts. I have a YouTube channel. I have several YouTube channels actually, and I'm actually out of social media though at the moment, and I'm not really excited about getting back into it. So that's kind of my challenge, is that I want to connect with people, but I just feel like social media is bad for society and not really what I want to be involved with.
yes. So this is a suitable challenge for us marketers in here. But there's a couple of points, and then I know we all have something we want to add on this thing. You can actually have a business without social media. Oh. I said that out loud. So do not feel pressured to do a social media account, especially if you're really uncomfortable doing it. But I will tell you, you will have to lean into ads to reach an audience. So you're replacing free organic with paid media. So that's your choice, okay? So that's your choice with that. The other thing is doing books on KDP definitely is a legit business model, and I think it's a great idea. I do think you need to come up with the business name, but you can just brand yourself in KDP. So you don't have to have a business name. You can just be Wes Brown.
I do have a spiritual name that I'm writing the books under, so that would probably be the branding, I guess, of that.
So you can do that. All right.
So in books, it's hard to sell books on KDP.
First of all, she has so many books and has been published by major publishers. She has like a whole 2 pages worth on Amazon, so just so you know.
Well, yeah, but most of them were with major publishers, not self-published. I do have 2 books self-published with a co-author. It's really hard to get an audience on KDP. So I do think you need to go elsewhere. Talking about email, I think authors tend to not realize that they can collaborate with other authors who do have email lists. So I think blogging and having building up an email list, having some kind of free offer that could be some tips, that lead into a book. I think you need a kind of a funnel to do that. And then once you have something of a list, you can collaborate with other authors because you can reciprocate, because you can promote theirs. And, there are a zillion authors out there doing new age spiritual books, so it's not like you can't find them. Regarding social media, I think that I just want to give you another way of looking at it, and that is simply kind of, and Phyllis will know a little bit more about this than I do, but you can pre-schedule posts. And so you don't have to go there actually. You just go into some software and you write up your things and then say they should go out. And you do want to look at your notifications to see if you get responses. But that, I think a lot of people miss that you don't have to actually look at social media. You just open up Facebook, look at the notifications, and don't look at anything else. And so it's a different feeling. Yes. You don't have to look at ads. You don't have to look at things that you don't want. You don't get absorbed in it and don't go down the rabbit hole. So I would say that. So I think collaboration. And I think having a YouTube channel would be good, doing videos and talking to. The other nice thing about having an email list is once you get a connection with some of them who are readers, then you can interview them about their experiences. And that would be great for a YouTube channel and a blog and so on like that.
Yeah, that's great.
So are any books written yet?
No.
Okay. So we got to do that first.
Yeah. Agreed.
I would say that, but once that's done, there is such a huge nationwide network of people writing in the spiritual space. And they do podcasts, they do lots of different things. And I think approaching them, they love to interview and talk to other authors about this space. And I think that would be a fabulous way for you to get some recognition that is very broad, because you'll be included in all their show notes and all those kind of things, and that will give you a lot more recognition. And even locally, I know that there's writer groups here. They may have some of the resources that they use to reach out to get published, although I know that there's writers here who don't necessarily want to be published. They're just doing it for a hobby. If you're doing this, and I'm assuming you want to do this and make a living, and this is you're supporting yourself and family and that sort of thing, then you need a really broad reach. And to get into that podcast world, I think would be fabulous. However, in the local world, and this is how you would start.
Yeah, I mean, my marketing efforts are local, right? Hyper local. I'm based here, and so I think one idea that I popped into my head is there a local business that kind of fits with what you're doing? That would complement well these types of books. Can you set up book signings there? Can you partner with them to do radio advertising and cross-promote local, brick and mortar businesses that you can be seen at? And I think that would be an important step. Doing meditations on the radio. I mean, there's different things. I think for some reason, Twitch keeps popping into my mind, Twitch streaming. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you're comfortable with the live, I think content is shifting back to live.
I actually do have a Twitch channel.
Yeah, I think that's actually a great idea.
Readings on there.
Yeah.
I would do that. I mean, I think you need to do that, and that interaction with that audience is huge, because then you've got those people reaching out to their friends, sharing, saying, come follow this, or I follow this, the emotes, all of that stuff is huge. But locally too, I think, writing the books first, and then building those partnerships and networks with local businesses and local things that would complement well, and just cross-promoting each other that way, I think would be really a good place to start.
All right, and so now a couple of, just if anybody in the audience wants to throw something into Wes's hat for that? Yeah.
There's a guy used to live here named John Kremer, Kremer, and he's a self-publishing expert, but his information is good for any kind of publishing. And John has a number of books which you can buy very cheap. If you want to take another step, you can call him up. He's not cheap, but he will give you tons of good ideas.
Yeah, his book is 1001 Ways to Market a Book.
Okay.
That's the name of his book. I mean, you can buy the book. I have a copy of it actually. Old copy.
All right. So thank you, Wes. I hope that gave you some things to think about, and I can't wait to hear the rest of it when I get home. All right. All right. Well, what did you think? Do you like these little hot seat rapid firing things? Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, once a quarter we can do this, and then and if you've already been in the hot seat, we'll take your name out of the hat so that more people get a chance to do this. But all four of these people up here, including myself, we're happy to talk to anybody. We'll stay a few minutes and follow up with anybody who needs it. And now I'm going to hand it back to Bob, and he's going to close it up for us.
Okay, Phyllis, thank you very much. Well, what a fun set. How about a round of applause for our panelists? Really, really great.